Hi, I'm Robin Birkin, an ex-corporate marketer turned online business owner. I took everything I knew and created a six-figure life coaching business in the margins between nap times and a 9 to 5, and I'm here to share with you how you can do the same. Tune in as I share the raw and unfiltered truths, big lessons, and practical tips to help you build and grow a sustainable bread-winning business online that is both peaceful and profitable. Here, we dive deep into all things online courses, funnels, audience growth, and so much more. If that sounds like the things you want to learn, then welcome to Signature Online Course Secrets. Let's go.
Hi, and welcome back to Signature Online Course Secrets. Now, I need to let you know before we get started on today's episode that we are imminently about to close applications for the early bird enrollment to the Peace and Profit Mastermind. This is my 6-month high-touch program that is designed to support you so deeply with what you actually want and probably need in business, which is strategy and consulting. So whilst I am also a qualified life coach, and yes, sometimes there is coaching involved in what I do, this is not a, what are you leaning towards, what do you think style of container. This is me co-creating and partnering with you in business to help ensure that you have a really simple yet sophisticated offer and sales strategy to ensure that you have exceptional launches in your business that also feel really safe and calm and regulated. This is me helping you at every step of the way to ensure that your offers convert well, to ensure that you are creating a business that is in line with the goals that you have, and to make sure that your marketing is effective. If that sounds like something that you are so deeply craving for 2025, then please reach out to me on Instagram or let's book a call. You can head to the show notes below for the link to join my mastermind. Places in the mastermind are becoming more and more scarce as people within the mastermind continue to renew their places. So this isn't a one day I'll join type scenario. If you would like results in your business and you have big goals for 2025, which if you're listening to this episode, you probably do, then now is the time to see whether Peace and Profit is going to support you in reaching those goals in a really life first way. Our early bird enrollment is imminently closing and comes with a really exceptional suite of extras that I know that you would love to take advantage of. So click on the link below if that is something that you think you might like. But otherwise, let's dive into this episode. So we are talking today about 5 considerations for your 2025 best year ever as a mama and a business owner. And this episode is going to be slightly reflective, I guess, in tone. So feel free to get the journal out, pause at any time, and really start to have a think about the type of business that you wish to create in 2025 and the goals that you have. So here are 5 considerations as a CEO mama for your $250,000 a year business. So the first one is, let's step back and consciously look at and consider the life that you want to create, not just the business that you want to create. I think a lot of the time we can get sucked into entrepreneurship and the narrative of like scale, build a team, hire a VA, do whatever, all in the name of this endless growth, when actually, do you want the growth anyway? And likewise, we can get sucked into real squirrel brain in our business and wanting to do more. I want to launch new offers. I have an idea for this. I could serve people in this niche, but I'd also be really great at creating a program for this type of client. And I think what happens is we inadvertently create a business that completely burns us out, keeps us on the creation hamster wheel, and then actually loses sight of what it is that we actually want to create, which often with women in business, women like me, we are working part-time because for whatever reason we need more rest. Maybe also we have children and our lives are dictated by their schedules, their school holidays, their sport commitments, that we really don't have time to run a business full time, nor the desire. maybe you've been in corporate and you're a super smarty pants, but like me, you're like, hang on, how does that fit with my life? And maybe you know that life is just so much more freaking important than being a cubicle slave. So as we go into 2025 and you're consciously creating, what is the revenue that I want to create? What is the business that I want to create? I want you first to consider, what is the life that you want? Have you ever stopped to think about, like, what does my ideal business and life look like? What does my ideal day look like? How do I want to feel as I run my business? Do I want to feel calm and peaceful? Or do I want things to feel fast-paced? And do I want things to feel chaotic? Do I want things to feel thrilling and exciting? Or do I want my business to feel like a really safe bedrock of predictability? Maybe you want it to feel like a creative outlet, whatever that looks like for you. And then looking in this holistic lens at your life as well. Do I want to take breaks? Do I want to go away with my family? Do I want to pick my kids up from school every day? What does that look like for you? Do I want to take my kids to their sporting events? So how do I then fit my life into my business and work around that? And then consistently through the year, if you want a $250,000 a year business that is strategic in expenses, that enables you to maximize profit for the hours that you put in, well, then that comes from first usually looking at the life that you want to create and then creating your business, making business decisions from the life that you want to create's lens, not from, I just want to be creatively fulfilled and a squirrel, creating new stuff, doing new stuff. It's going to look like probably doubling down on strategic things, doubling down on a strategic offer suite, doubling down on a particular launch or sales strategy in your business. And then once you know that, having the game plan and setting the game plan for exactly how that's going to happen. What is the written strategy? What are you going to go into? If you want business to feel chaotic, then don't do this. But if you want your business to feel calm and regulated, really predictable and easeful, if you want to feel like it's a joy, that it's not stressful, then you want to have a game plan that you can stick to, and you want to have a proper strategy that is going to support you in your business, from your offers to your launches, to your pricing, to your marketing and top of funnel growth. So number 2 is, are you being a CEO? Now, I ask this question because in that initial stage of business and that initial momentum, everything is just about taking action and getting things done. Literally, that's it. The more action you take, the more you show up, the more you learn, the more you put out there. Fun, fab, great. And there's absolutely shortcuts, but what there isn't is like you can't not do the work. Then as you get to a particular point in business, you no longer have a jobby. You have a business, and you need to be the boss and the leader of that business. What does that mean? Let me tell you. That means, are you sticking to the plan? If you've set an annual plan, and everybody pivots, so you will set a plan once a quarter and then you will inevitably pivot slightly from that. You may adjust goals. That's completely normal. But if you set goals for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 of a calendar year, how well do you stick to that? Versus, is that changing rapidly in your business? Is that a CEO move to be continually changing, launching new things, doing new things, taking a left turn here? Is that a CEO move or a jobby move? Being financially savvy. I love talking about money. It is something that I have started talking about all the time in the mastermind, because if you would like profit in your business, you need to be financially savvy. Are you managing your money well? What does the owner's pay look like? What does the profit look like? What does it look like with the money that you are taking out of your business? And what does it look like with the money that you are investing into your business? And are you being financially savvy and allocating the right amounts of money to the right places? Are you being a CEO with your money? Do you understand your money, or are you outsourcing everything to a bookkeeper? Are you still going on with Excel spreadsheets when really it's time to move to QuickBooks or Xero? The next thing that it comes to when we're a CEO is, are you continuing to play it safe? At what point will you decide to trust yourself, and if things aren't working, declare that you will find a solution and just go for it? And sit with this question for a while. If you believed that your success was inevitable and you couldn't fail, and maybe there were gaps in your business that needed to be solved, and you knew that if you wanted to get to $250,000 in part-time hours, that would mean being really strategic and savvy with your time, and possibly investing in things, I don't know, like Facebook ads or a mastermind. Are you continuing to play it safe and then hamstringing your success because of that? Because you're not trusting in yourself, because you're not playing it serious. You're playing a jobby, not a CEO. If you have gaps to fill, they will never magically fill themselves. It's up to you to save yourself and save your business. And a lot of the time that requires one thing: self-belief that you will succeed in business. I always remember when I say that, when I first started my business, I borrowed $4,000 from our savings account because I knew that I needed support to get up and running quickly. It wasn't even a question in my mind of whether or not I would pay that back. Never even entered my mind that I would not pay that back. I was like, I just need this for 6 months and then I give it back with some. And I did. And the next place that sometimes I see this happening is when we're kind of outsourcing a lot of the decision making on our business to our husbands or our partners. Don't mistake me by saying like you should not tell your husbands about things. That's not what I mean. But sometimes, do you intentionally be like, oh, I'm just going to run this by my husband, knowing that he's going to say no, because also knowing that he doesn't understand, because then going back to the previous point, you're actually playing it safe. If you believed in your success in business, maybe, once a month you ask them, oh, should I go back to corporate? Or maybe there's something you really want to do, and then let's say you want to go to a conference. This is a good example because I'm going to refer to a book that I highly recommend in a moment. You want to go to a conference or a networking event, and he's like, oh, that's going to put me out, or that's a really busy time, I don't want you to do it, or, oh, but what about the kids and work, and that would mean I'd have to take time off work. And one of the reasons why I love a Sweet Six business is because it creates so much more flexibility that we're not arguing back and forth with husbands about whose job is more important. But are you continually martyring and sacrificing yourself and asking the question, and wanting their buy-in to something that they really potentially don't understand unless they have a similar style of business, knowing that they're going to say no and could never understand? Versus, let me highlight 2 things or people. Number 1, Lakin Chinpoy. Go follow my friend on Instagram. She is just a ninja at boundaries and relationships and really fostering a thriving marriage that doesn't involve arguing back and forth about things and all of that. She's an inspiration to me. And the next thing is a book that was actually recommended to me by Lakin, is a book called Unbound. And the author's name escapes me, Harriet Lerner, I want to say it is. And I love the example in this book that she gives. And the example that she gives in the book is the wife wants to go to a conference and the husband kicks off for whatever. And she says to Harriet, I put up a good fight, but he's just still said no. And Harriet Lerner's response was almost like, why are you trying to argue back and forth and try and convince his point of view? It's like political beliefs. If someone is a diehard supporter of one particular party, it's a hard task to sit and try and convince someone otherwise. Anyway, what should you do? Her reply was great. You don't want them to come around to your way of thinking because it's just an uphill battle that you'll likely never win. But the lady should have just said, well, I'm a grown woman and this is important to me, so I respect that you're not super happy about it. But this is where I'm at right now and something that's important to me that I really want to do. So much harder for them to argue no when you put it that way. And so in a business, if you are a CEO and you know that there is something that you want to do that is important to you, maybe you want to put the kids in daycare 1 day a week, whatever it is, where are you just trying to argue the point and win them over versus as a CEO knowing that this is the best move for the business and it will benefit our family? I know that you don't see that right now, but it's important to me and this is something that needs to happen. Where are you outsourcing that versus just making the decision?
There's one question I've been asked more than anything else, and it's this. Robin, how do you get so much done in such a short period of time? Because I've never had the luxury of being able to work in my business and hustle those 40 to 60 hour weeks. It's all been between nap times, a 9 to 5, or the school run. And from my second year in business and ever since, we've had 6-figure plus years. So this is it. I've put together for you my entire weekly work schedule, my to-do list, and everything I do in my business to help give you the tips, insights, and strategies to help you thrive as a business owner in part-time hours. It's called 16-Hour CEO, and it's a value-packed PDF that takes you behind the scenes in my business. Want a copy? It is totally free, and it's at launcheasylife.com/CEO. That's launcheasylife.com/CEO. All right, let's dive back into the episode.
Number 3, where are you not asking for help? And where are you being unreasonable of your expectations of yourself? Let me give you a few cases in point. Maybe you are a sales coach and your offers aren't selling. You know you need support from someone like me who will support you in getting your offers right and getting the conversions back on track. But you're like, oh, but I really should know this myself. No way. You can never see the wood for the trees in your own business, is what I think. Another case in point is I was just on a podcast with a friend, Jackie Norton from White Deer Creative. It will launch in a couple of weeks. And I conducted a sales page audit for Jackie, who's a graphic designer, an amazing graphic designer. And within the podcast today, she said, can you give me some design or give the audience some design tips for sales pages? Because the way a graphic designer comes about design is very different to the way, I guess, call me, I don't know, an office strategist or a consultant or a conversion specialist comes at things. And one of the things I provided in the sales audit was design advice. Make no mistake, whenever I do it, like I'm trembling a little bit as I sip my water. But where are you not asking for help? Now, full disclosure, Jackie's sales page kicked already and she'd already come off a fantastic launch, but she knew that she could do even better with the strategy that she had. So, maybe you're a sales coach and things aren't going well. Maybe you're also going really well in business, but know that there's scope to do better. So either of those scenarios. But if we go even deeper, if you're in a busy season and a launch and you're like, you know what, there's just not enough hours in the day, where are you not asking for help and thinking that you need to do everything all yourself? Another case in point. Do you want to know a dirty little secret that hardly anybody in the world, in fact, I don't even know if anyone in the world knows this secret except you, friend. I ask my mum, I have just started this in maybe the last month. I've asked my mum to come over and help fold my laundry. I pay her and I take her out to lunch. So this isn't, I'm a daughter who's like, oh, just do my things for me because I can't adult. I make it worth her while. I'm like, hey, do you want some pocket money today? Do you want to come and we'll go out for lunch on Friday? That's what we're doing this Friday. And she comes and helps me with the laundry, and she comes on a Monday. So on the weekend, I just chuck stuff in the wash, then chuck it in the dryer or hang it on the line. Then there's a big pile. And then she comes, not every week, but like a few weeks. And I've asked her if she can support me while I'm in launch at the moment as well. She comes and folds it, so then I don't have a giant pile of laundry knocking on my door every 3.4 seconds and stressing me out. And I also asked my dad if he'd be willing to take the girls to school yesterday, which was Monday, because I wanted to sneak in a little bit of extra work. Where are you not asking for help? Because often the worst thing that's going to happen is someone is going to say no in your personal life. But if you say no in business and keep trying to wing it by yourself, inevitably, you may end up shrinking your business to a point of like no return. And that's stressful. So if things aren't working for you and if things are too much at the moment, or even if you're like, you know what, do I need to do this? Maybe I don't. What would peace in my family, in my business, in my household look like? Then ask yourself, why are you not asking for help? Is it pride? Is it because you're trying to be the perfect mother? What is stopping you from asking for help? Is it because there's some issues that you feel with reciprocity? Is it because you're, again, like don't have the self-trust? Let's say you're like, oh my God, business is not doing the way that I expected it to do. And you know deep down that if you do nothing, nothing will change. So you know that you need to really make some rapid changes, but you don't know what they are. Well then, what is the cost of waiting? It's potentially massive. Versus if you invest and fix the thing and then start having success and growth and get back on track, really it's a question of like, actually, I need to invest yesterday because you believe you're smart, you're discerning with your investments. If that's the case and you get back on track, then it becomes not a problem. But if you don't, then you still stay stuck in the mud. So what is the pride? What is the permission slip that you need to give to yourself? Is it self-trust? Is it that you keep self-sabotaging and playing it safe and you're asking your husband and really secretly deep down know that he'll say no and almost a little bit want him to say no because then it kind of lets you off the hook? Then time to ask yourself those questions. If you want a $250,000 business, which is so possible for you in 2025, right, well, what needs to happen in order to create that? Likely, in some capacity, somewhere in your business or personal life, you are going to have to ask for help. Let go of any of the guilt, obligations, shoulds, permission slips that you need to make that happen because your business, your life, your rules. Number 4 is, where are you shrinking your business? If you want in 2025 to reach your revenue goals, it's time to take a step back, take a bird's eye view, and have a look at, well, in terms of 2024, what were the goals that I set and why didn't I meet them? Maybe you reached $250,000, but you freaking hustled. Or maybe you didn't, but had intended to. What didn't work? Like, where was the disconnect there? Did I have enough in terms of growth? Have I kept playing it safe? Have I stayed stuck? Have I moved too slow in my business? Have I been really slow to make decisions? So I say this all the time. 2 things. One is the concept of Bernstein's donkey. That there was a donkey, I think it's called Bernstein's donkey, that had 2 piles of hay and spent so long deciding which bale of hay he would eat that he starved to death. Indecision is torture. The best decision is to make a quick decision, in my belief. And the research has shown that one of the key differentiators between middle management and senior management isn't that the CEO or senior manager is better and makes better decisions. It's just that the senior manager makes more decisions. Like, they make them quickly. So are you staying stuck because you're being too slow in terms of action and implementation? And then if that's the case, what needs to change? Is it your offers, your promo cycle? Do you need to call in more help? What does that look like? But also, are you staying stuck because you are taking too long to just make decisions and dive into things? Part of being an entrepreneur, and particularly someone who has any kind of online facing, means You got to move really quickly. The online market shifts and changes like every 3 years. If you are just continually, 1-2 years behind what's working, you're just going to keep like being the follower and falling on trends too late. The next one is kind of the opposite. You're making decisions quickly, but you are making too many decisions and pivoting too quickly. You are just perpetually pivoting. You are not giving anything enough time to work. You are having one failed launch and then saying, oh, nope, that's not going to work, and then radically changing to something else. If you are gunning for 250 grand in 2025, you've likely had some things that have worked in your business. You've likely had some success with some things. There are likely also some things that haven't worked or don't work in your business. Rather than throwing the baby out with the bathwater, double down on what's working, right? Or if nothing is working, let's step backwards and figure out when were things working, what was it like when they were working, what is the market like now, and just slightly pivot rather than continually being like, oh, new offers. Oh, now I'm going to launch a membership. I'm going to scrap the membership. Now I'm going to go all low ticket because I saw that someone had just a low ticket library product suite. So I'm going to do that. Then that doesn't take off the way that you thought. Then you could panic and you're like, now I'm going to do a signature course. And now I'm going to fall back on one-to-one coaching. That's a hard way to run business. We need to figure out exactly what is and isn't working, follow the clues and iterate from there. And then the next thing, the last thing. So out of our considerations, if you are a mama who wants to make $250,000 plus in her business next year and feel hopefully really peaceful about it, how are you planning your life? I got an email the other day. I call them the millionaire mothers. The ladies who are absolutely inspirational, have phenomenal businesses, but are completely out of touch with the realities of what it is like to grow and build a business in the margins of time between nap times and 9 to 5s, because when they were 20-something was when they hustled for 16 hours per day. They built million-dollar businesses or multi-million-dollar businesses. And then now they're a mum and they're all like, oh yeah, like make it work in part-time hours, whatever. Full well knowing that number one, they have a knowledge advantage. Number two, they have a team advantage. And number three, they have probably an audience and email list advantage. And I received a random email. I hadn't signed up to the email list, but I received an email from one of the millionaire mothers that was something along the lines of, sleep 7 to 9 hours per night. And then the next thing was like all about breath work of Wim Hof. And no shade to any of that, but all I could think, because that's not my life at all, was, oh, fuck off. Here's my point. If you're creating your business for a time when life is going to settle down, you and I don't have the same type of lives, because my life never settles down. What I have is a life that is pretty business proof and a business that is fairly life proof because of the strategic way that I have set it up. So if you are continually like, maybe you're at 50 grand now, 100 grand now, whatever that looks like, and you're like, but I just, I couldn't do this because, life was crazy, whatever. If your life is anything like my life, you'll fix one problem and then another problem will arise, or there'll be another chaos, or all of a sudden there'll be school holidays and, et cetera, et cetera. So let's create a business that can fit everything you need to do into the available hours that you have and can work and flow with things like school holidays, can work and flow with you going on holidays, can work and flow when you have sick kids and all of those kind of things, which doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect and you're like, what is her name? Nora Jones, baking homemade bread in your kitchen. That's not what I mean. Life is not going to be perfect. You're not going to coast along. There's going to be little fires that you need to put out in your business, but I'm talking about that deep business structure that strategy, the game plan, the promotional schedule. How have you built that all in to be able to give you enough time, freedom, and spaciousness to do it all? And then strategically, worked out the offers so that you are not always feeling like you are hustling to make that revenue and then not achieving your revenue goals, because at the time when you're supposed to be hustling, there's fires everywhere and kids are sick. They're puking right before a webinar, because that's going to happen. But how are you building your business to work throughout all of that and be intentionally designed? That's the big consideration. But if you want to create a $250,000 plus business as a CEO, as a mama in 2025, if you're like, oh, yes, I'll have all of that, please, you and I need to talk. Come and reach out to me on Instagram at Robin Birkin, and we can explore how you can work with me and whether or not the mastermind is a really great fit for you. We have our early bird closing imminently, and I would so love to have a conversation with you and see whether it's something that would support you in your business in 2025 before we close that early bird enrollment. That's from me this week. Have the best day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Another episode on the books. If you'd like to continue the conversation and get more super saveable tips, come and find me on Instagram at Robin Birkin. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed, and I can't wait to see you next week.